details, go to RBN's webpage and frontsite.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth. What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Wednesday, November 21st, 2018, middle of the weekday, hump days. And of course, well, there's not much of a slide to the weekend because tomorrow's Thanksgiving and we're looking at a 4-day weekend. And time to visit family and eat a lot of food, watch a lot of sporting events, and also hopefully to reflect on what we are all thankful for this year. Anyway, let's get on into it. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. The lovely Lady Claire will be joining us in hour number 3 of our show today because we are taking today and tomorrow off at RBN. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Mike is in our control room, ready to answer the phone, put you on the air with your comments, questions, and opinions here. So let's just get right on into it here. Now, political correctness has, unfortunately, also come home to roost, so to speak, in Thanksgiving. And apparently, over in North Carolina's Wake County Public School system, memos were sent out to not culturally appropriate Native Americans for Thanksgiving. Now, if you're like me, when you were growing up, every year Thanksgiving in elementary school, you'd get out the construction paper and you'd make little feather headdresses and various other things to basically commemorate the official story of Thanksgiving, where the Native Americans helped the Pilgrims survive the first winter, and in exchange, the Pilgrims took back Elizabeth Warren. So we all did that. Well, now that's not considered politically correct anymore. It's considered bad to make symbols of the Native Americans for, Indian feathers and clothing. It's cultural appropriation now, and you shouldn't do that. Can't they leave well enough alone? I mean, I don't think the Native Americans are that upset about it. I mean, they're probably more upset over the fact that a lot of the history, the real history of what happened when the Europeans came to this continent, has been basically erased, rather than the fact that school kids at least remember the Native Americans, the good side, that they all did get together. Anyway, as you know, earlier this week, President Trump pardoned the turkey. It's become an annual thing at the White House. This year they had 2 turkeys named Peas and Carrots, and they actually put it up for a popular vote. Which turkey will be pardoned? And PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, of course, had to weigh on in, saying there should be no pardon for the turkey. They have committed no crime. How dare you say that the turkeys need to be pardoned? Well, PETA, you're going to have one turkey that doesn't get sent to the ovens. I mean, the tradition has been with whatever turkey is selected to be pardoned by the White House winds up going to a petting zoo somewhere and living out their life. I would think PETA would be happy with that. But no, we're just going to get on in there and scream and yell and, try and get some free media out of it. So anyway, I do have to admire Donald Trump's sense of humor, even if the Democrats are not, because he came on out saying the winner of the vote for the turkey that was going to be pardoned was decided by a fair and open election. Peas had won the popular vote, but unfortunately Carrots has refused to concede, demanded a recount, and this thing is still going to court to fight over it. So Trump basically announced he was going to pardon both the turkeys, but unfortunately House Democrats will be issuing them subpoenas. And of course, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals could always overturn the pardons. I mean, these things could really get kind of weird. Now, by coincidence, because Thanksgiving is a floating holiday, as it were, this year it happens to come on the anniversary of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, which was a pivotal moment in American history. Now, I'm old enough to remember the day it happened. I remember where I was. I was standing in the schoolyard at the Loudon Elementary School when the teachers all came running out from the school building and saying the president was just killed in Dallas, and they basically suspended school for the rest of the day. So we all went home to watch the news and the story. And like most Americans, I bought the official story of the crazed lone nut assassin Lee Harvey Oswald. But it's interesting. Even back then, I guess I had the instincts of an archivist because I saved every single magazine and news article about the assassination, and I kept it. And years later, when New Orleans prosecutor Jim Garrison brought his case against Clay Shaw in the assassination, I still had all of that material. I was in high school at the time, and I dragged it all out and really looked at it for the first time. And the obvious signs of deception and fraud just leapt out at me. And much of that material is now in my JFK page at whatreallyhappened.com, which I have linked to the front page today in commemoration of the assassination. But yeah, we were being lied to by the corporate media even all the way back then, and it was a life lesson. It was at that point I understood you should never, ever take anything that you saw on the corporate media or from the government at face value. And then, of course, Oliver Stone came out with his movie about JFK, which I presume is going to be airing sometime, either today or tomorrow. And if you have not seen it, it is worth watching. It is a real good overview of the assassination and the people who were behind it. There was also this British-made series, The Men Who Killed Kennedy. But interestingly enough, just to give you an idea of how times have changed, it took almost 30 years for half the American population to come to the understanding that the Warren Commission and the Warren Report was a complete whitewash. These days, in the age of the internet and the independent media, the life expectancy of a government lie can be clocked with an egg timer. I've about worn this one out. I need to get a new one. So we're going to do a shout out now to our honor affiliates who are just now rejoining the network here. Speaking of fraud here, apparently over in Orange County, they're now thinking fraud was taking place there because the Republican gubernatorial candidate won that area, but somehow the Democrats took all 6 House seats. And so they're starting to take another look. Was there election fraud over there? Of course there was election fraud. Our election system is set up to enable fraud and to conceal it. And we need to fix this system if we, the American people, are ever going to be back in control of our nation. And it is our nation. We have to remember that. Now, I get a lot of phone calls and emails from people saying, we need to take back our nation. Let's, get out the AR-15s and take back our nation. We don't need the AR-15s. That's antiquated anyway. That's 1700 thinking. We need to take back the election system. We need to take back that election system. Somebody just sent me an email saying the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals overruled Trump's turkey pardon. Yeah, that sounds about right for that Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. All right, so getting on back to politics here. Story out of Newsmax. As you know, Donald Trump has provided written answers to questions asked by the Mueller investigation, and people are kicking back and saying, finally, this is going to be over. It's coming to an end. It's gone on way too long. Trump has provided the answers. Mueller has found nothing. No, this Mueller investigation is not coming to an end. They're going to drag it out and drag it out. They're daring Trump to fire him so they can make a big stink about that. And if Trump doesn't fire Mueller, they're going to drag this out to 2020 because they're going to be pounding on this as a campaign issue. This is as dirty as politics gets in this country. Anyway, now, speaking of dirty politics, and you probably saw this, the corporate media is covering it, a lot of people have wondered, why were there never any indictments against Clinton and Comey? And there are now two different stories floating around about it. Okay, the New York Times version of the story is that Trump did order the Department of Justice to issue indictments against Clinton and Comey, and that the Jeff Sessions Department of Justice denied the request. That's the New York Times version of the story as it came out earlier today. The second version of the story, and the one that's all over the corporate media today, is that the White House lawyers, who were holdovers from the Obama administration, basically advised Trump that if he went ahead and personally intervened to bring indictments against Comey and Clinton, that could lead to his impeachment by the House of Representatives, which is what Trump gets for having kept those holdovers in there. And, of course, does not address the question of why the Department of Justice didn't indict anyway. So, I mean, Trump ought to be willing to risk impeachment. They can't remove him. They don't have the votes in the Senate to do it. It didn't hurt Clinton for him to be impeached, did it? Trump needs to put on those presidential brass knuckles here. And he's got to stop backing off from the House of Representatives. Ooh, I'm afraid of the House of Representatives. I'm afraid of the House of Representatives. Anyway, you're the president, man. Act like it. Okay, so, as you know, the liberals all of a sudden, now that Hillary Clinton has been ordered by the courts to respond to questions about her email server to Judicial Watch under oath, all of a sudden the liberals are making a big deal over Ivanka Trump and how she was using her private email account. Oh, horror of horrors. And they're trying to make a real big deal out of it. Now, there are some significant differences. First and foremost, Hillary Clinton had her own private email server in her home. Ivanka Trump just used a regular, ordinary private email account like we all do. Second, Hillary Clinton was handling classified information. Ivanka Trump was not. They're basically trying to create an equivalence. See, everybody does it. Ivanka's doing it and Hillary's doing it. If Hillary's going to be prosecuted, well, then we're going to make sure that Ivanka Trump is prosecuted. Prosecute Hillary under Title 18. Ivanka has not committed an offense under Title 18. James Comey went down the laundry list of the Title 18 felony violations committed by Hillary Clinton. Go after those. Ivanka has not done anything like that. This is no time to back down. So, anyway. And again, it's not a coincidence. They're making a big stink about Ivanka's use of private email, just as Hillary Clinton is ordered by the court to respond to questions from Judicial Watch under oath. Alan Dershowitz was out there saying, well, you know, Ivanka's doing it, Hillary's doing it, it would be unfair to prosecute just Hillary for it, so let's just let them both go. At core of all of this, and I've said this so many times before, we know that back in 1993, 4, I think it was, the Chinagate scandal. Bill Clinton's running for re-election. And using his authority as president, he authorized the sale to China of militarily sensitive technology. And at the same time, Chinese money poured into his re-election campaign through Chinese American citizens to make it seem overtly legal. But there was a brief investigation, which went nowhere because the White House email server broke down, and oh my goodness, we don't have the backup tapes. Heard that one again. So you have all this money that's pouring into the Clinton Foundation, and Hillary has this private email server with weaker security than Ashley Madison. The Romanian hacker Guccifer said that when he was inside Hillary's email server, which was very easy to get into, he saw at least 10 foreign IPs logged in, rummaging through the files. So it is a reasonable question to ask. Okay, was Hillary Clinton, while Secretary of State, selling U.S. secrets to interested foreign parties using her weak email server to deliver the secrets and her so-called charitable foundation to collect and launder the money? It's a reasonable question, and nobody wants to ask it, and nobody wants to answer it. Let's go after Ivanka Trump. We're going to make a case out of Ivanka. Don't you dare touch Hillary. We'll go after Ivanka. Well, Ivanka's a big girl, and I think she can take care of herself. And I think it's time that Daddy did his job. That's what I think. So, this story really bothers me. And it's basically coming out of, hang on, my Windows machine has locked up. It's coming out of Russia Today. Trump says that he doesn't know anything about Julian Assange. Apparently he was dodging a reporter's question on whether Assange should go free. Yeah, I mean, Trump, are you that ungrateful for all that Assange in particular and the independent media in general did for you in 2016? Or are you just completely oblivious to just how and why you wound up in that Oval Office? Right when it made the greatest difference, somebody inside the Democratic establishment, most likely Seth Rich, leaked all of those damning emails to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks put it out there. The independent media made it viral. And it was a stunning blow to the Hillary campaign. They turned around trying to say, oh, it's Russia, it's Russia, it's Russia, it's Russia. No, it's Democratic people working on the inside who just got disgusted with what they were seeing. That's what led to it. And for Trump to stand there and say, well, I don't know anything about Assange. Trump has basically abandoned his base. And short of Hillary coming back in as the Democratic nominee, I certainly don't have the enthusiasm to fight for him again in 2020. I'm going to kick on back. I'm going to turn this website into a cooking website for 2020. You know, lasagna. We're doing a show about lasagna tomorrow. All right, let's take a phone call. Bill in Wisconsin, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, aloha, Michael, and have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you, sir.
I have a copy of New American, which just came today, November 19th issue. And I'm sure if you go to their website, thenewamerican.com, and what it does is show that Trump's boasting about getting rid of NAFTA is phony. Okay, his change called the USMCA, okay, is totally based on the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Okay.
It's another globalist scheme. It is the North American Union, not even in disguise. So the problem that we have is we have a president that says one thing and does another.
Well,
And once again,
they tend to do that a lot. I was hoping for better for Trump, but he's a disappointment. Listen, Bill, stay on the line. We're going to put you on hold, and we'll be right back after these few words from our sponsors.
The First Amendment in the Bill of Rights limits the government's power by ensuring the freedom of speech and preserving the rights of the people. Every day that passes, our rights gradually slip away. It's time to take a stand and let the government know we're tired of losing our rights. LibertyStickers.com will allow you to express your rights and allow millions of people to see you stand up for what you believe in. LibertyStickers.com carries the largest selection of bumper stickers online, ranging from political to humorous, and is your #1 source for Ron Paul for President stickers. As always, you can find your favorite stickers that protest the war and the president. Don't see what you're looking for? Liberty Stickers will custom make stickers that will let you get your message across for all Americans to see. Go to LibertyStickers.com and see pre-made stickers that will get everyone talking. That's LibertyStickers.com or call 877-873-9626. Liberty Stickers, the world's most dangerous stickers.
Attention RBN listeners. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, founder of Front Sight Firearms Training, and fate have come together to allow RBN to run another fundraiser till the end of the year. We didn't really expect this opportunity, but thankfully it's here and running as you hear this. We've set a goal of 500 donations by the end of the year, which averages around 6 per day, 7 days a week. When you realize all the folks listening to RBN all hours of the day and night, we think our goal is realistic and extremely critical to keep RBN on the air. If everybody listening will seriously assess their ability with firearms and then take advantage of this opportunity, we feel our goal is very conservative. Please take the time to look over Front Sight's website to get an idea of an amazing facility and the world-class training that's going on there. If this interests you, you likely will have like-minded friends that would like to know. Tell them. If for some reason some listeners are not personally interested, consider sons and daughters, close friends, nieces or nephews, top valued employees, inform club members, share the opportunity with police and fire departments. It's not too early to plan Christmas presents for special people. This fundraiser has come at an extremely critical time for RBN because the dire need for equipment upgrades. We're running on the spare tire currently with no money to fix a flat, and the fuel gauge is bouncing on E. This is one of the most valuable ways you can help RBN financially because you get Commander lifetime membership value that is 50 times your donation and can be passed on forever. How many times during life do you get to leave a legacy? See more details and contact info on our webpage, republicbroadcasting.org, and thank you.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
Okay. And aloha, welcome back to our show here. We're still talking with Bill in Wisconsin. And Bill, it's almost an axiom of politics that politicians are going to say one thing, especially during election season, and do another. When Trump came on into the campaign back in 2016, a lot of people were hoping that because he wasn't a career politician, that he would be somewhat different. Unfortunately, he's turned out to be just more of the same thing. And maybe it's an aspect of the business world to say one thing and do another. I'll be the first to admit Trump is a disappointment. And I know there's a lot of independent media people out there who stood with Trump. They campaigned for Trump, and they're still supporting him, and they're still backing him up. But I'm not, I don't have a problem with saying, I'm less than enthused with the guy here. But again, the main reason I supported him was in opposition to Hillary Clinton. So I'm still glad that we got him into the Oval Office, but in terms of his keeping certain promises, in terms of his, remembering who worked to get him into the White House, he has been a tremendous disappointment.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I worked for him too. I voted for Reagan once. And then when he bailed out banks and so forth and set up amnesty, that was it. Never voted for Clinton or any of the Bushes. Obviously, they were part of the problem from the get-go. But I thought Trump, certainly he's going to do something that's going to make changes. But look how the Justice Department now is talking about indicting Julian Assange. This is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. During the campaign, he praised WikiLeaks.
Yes.
Now, what do we see? Possibly putting the poor guy in jail. It's just got to stop. So I would hope that all Americans would go, and there's a lot of things that the New American and the Birch Society promote that I don't like, but on trade agreements and so forth, they are spot on. So go to the newamerican.com, the latest issue, November 19th, and see how we're being sold out to the globalists.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
Well, yeah, I could make other statements, but I think that's enough for today.
All right. Well, then thank you for the phone call. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And we're going to switch over to John in Little Rock. Aloha, John. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
No, Tony.
Hello?
Yeah, some. Hello?
Yes, I couldn't hear you for a while.
Hello.
You're on the air now.
Well, I'm going to tell you, like I told your board operator, Friday, I gave you guys some hot information about Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp and that sham of a governor's race in Georgia. Now, why should it concern me? Well, number one, Stacey Abrams is black. She's masquerading around the black community like I'm your friend, and she's patting our black children on the head. But she's a fraud and a false messiah, just like Jesse Jackson.
Yes.
Now, what are y'all going to do with that information I gave you?
Can you give us a quick recap of what you told us? I mean, so much is happening, I can't keep track of it all. But what was the information you had for us?
Okay. Everybody praising Stacey and Kemp, right? Like they messiahs. But both of them have accepted. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Have accepted campaign fund from Core Civics. This is not on the media. They ain't talking about it. I found this by accident looking for something else. And there's only one article about Stacey Adams on the internet, and I have scoured it night and day, lost lots of sleep. But nobody in the mainstream is talking about this. She's playing the poor victim when they both got blackmail on each other about the private prison PAC fund.
Ah, okay. Can you send me that article and I'll put it up?
Yeah. Well, the board op, he got it.
All right, I'll ask the board op to forward it to me, and then I'll put it up at whatreallyhappened.com. But yeah,
One more thing, let me go.
Yeah.
I just got you posting a tweet to Melissa Alano about somebody that she favors in the Mississippi election. I said, sorry, he's got their prison PAC money too. I wonder what her reaction going to be when she goes off.
Yeah, that private prison situation there, that is such a corrupt operation where they're literally, I mean, police are arresting people not for having crimes, but for having certain skill sets that are needed to keep those prison factories going. Anyway, listen, John, I got to let you go. We got to take another break for commercials, and I'll get that article up at whatreallyhappened.com. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Did you know that neither the American Medical Association nor the American Bar Association were established to benefit the American people? Have you recognized that in our country, healthcare has little to do with health, and that our court system has nothing to do with justice? The priests of both medicine and law have been incentivized to implement a dark agenda on behalf of the Bilderbergers and their ilk. To protect ourselves and our progeny, we need to take a much closer look at how these two giant industries really work. Join me, Al Whitney, on In Defense of Humanity, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Central, as we expose the matrix and learn how not to consent to our own destruction.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds, up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the What Really Happened cooking show. And as our first piece of advice for your upcoming Thanksgiving, seriously, never attempt to deep fry a frozen turkey. And I know it sounds silly, but every year about 500 people will blow up their kitchens trying to do that. All right, let's go back to the phones here. Tony in Puerto Rico. Aloha, Tony. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Mike. Happy Thanksgiving. And I have a quick comment. Tomorrow's the anniversary of the JFK assassination.
Yes.
My question is this. Do you think the deep state was involved with Ted Kennedy's plane crash and Chappaquiddick?
Ted Kennedy crashed a car at Chappaquiddick. It was JFK Jr. who crashed an airplane. And my answer to both of them would be yes. Chappaquiddick was a third attempt at an assassination.
No, but Ted Kennedy was also involved in the plane crash in '64. Remember? He broke his back.
Yeah, now I do remember that one. Yes.
Okay, that's what I mean. You think that was part of the deep state also?
Could very well be. I mean, but once Chappaquiddick happened, Ted Kennedy's run for the White House was effectively over, and that was the whole purpose of going after him. It was the reason they went after Robert Kennedy, because with the power and authority of the White House, they could have reopened the investigation into the JFK assassination and started, going after some of the players.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go, and the phone lines are open again here. So I just saw this banner headline flash across Fox News where apparently moderate Democrats in the House of Representatives are being warned that if they do not support Nancy Pelosi, there will be repercussions. It really is starting to look like an organized crime gang over there. Meanwhile, Marcia Fudge has dropped out of challenging Pelosi for Speaker. In fact, she's now endorsing her. And apparently they've made a big deal over this situation where back in 2015, Marcia Fudge wrote a letter supporting a judge who had been convicted of beating his wife. And Marcia wrote a letter saying, really, normally he's a nice guy or something like that. And apparently that judge's wife more recently was murdered. He's been arrested as a suspect. And for some reason, they're saying that, this is why Fudge should stop running against Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House. Which, okay. It's amazing the links they'll try and make for this stuff here. Anyway, former President Barack Obama, of course, is throwing his support behind Nancy Pelosi for the House speakership. And Obama basically said, quote, I think Nancy Pelosi, when the history is written, will go down as one of the most effective legislative leaders this country has ever seen, end quote. Well, it all depends on who's writing that history, of course. I would like to see the Democrats show some spine and not vote her in. But unfortunately, being a member of Congress involves having your spine and your soul removed surgically before you can take office here. Now, here's an interesting little story. This is out of 12160. And apparently it has to do with the fact that House Republicans are still looking into the Clinton Foundation. This is coming from Representative Mark Meadows. And they're getting ready to hear testimony next month, early, from the prosecutor appointed to investigate allegations of wrongdoing by the Clinton Foundation, of which there is a huge amount to be found. For one thing, we know that they didn't donate enough to charity to actually qualify for a 501c3 designation. So Mark Meadows, who's chairman of the House Oversight Committee on Government Operations, told The Hill it's time to circle back to former Utah Attorney General John Huber's probe with the Justice Department into whether the Clinton Foundation engaged in improper activities. There's a lot of these things they're trying to finish up before the next Congress comes on in, because as soon as the Democrats take over all these committees, all these investigations are going to go away. So Mark Meadows is putting pedal to the metal, trying to get something done before the end of the year here. By the way, did you notice that after Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, donations to the Clinton Foundation dropped off by 90%? I mean, if that doesn't tell you this was all about pay for play and buying influence, nothing will. All right, let's talk about some of the conflict areas over in eastern Syria. Their reports are still coming on out. U.S. fighter jets are dropping banned white phosphorus bombs on residential areas, civilian districts in the town of Hajin and its outskirts, killing and injuring a number of people. And white phosphorus, if it doesn't kill you, it's a nasty, nasty burn, permanent scarring. Now, the U.S. insists they're only attacking ISIS bases, but that's not what the people on the ground in Syria are saying here. And once again, the Syrian army, as they continue their cleanup operations in regions in northern Homs, are finding more weapons and ammunition made by the United States, including machine guns, sniper rifles, cannons, actual artillery, mortar launchers, machine guns, a large volume of ammunition, man pads. A lot of stuff over there, which, by the way, you all got to pay for. Now, Russia has released a video showing the new Sukhoi 57 stealth fighter in a Syria combat mission. We have that video linked to the front page of what really happened. It's a nice-looking little jet, single-seat, twin-engine, and apparently the Russian Defense Ministry has ordered 12 of the planes to be delivered next year, and they've released this footage of a Sukhoi 57 taken off from an undisclosed location, presumed to be Khmeimim Air Base in northeastern Syria. So they're basically using Syria as a demo. And it does look like, let's see. All right, now, down in Yemen, the charity Save the Children is saying that almost 85,000 children under the age of 5 may have already starved to death in Yemen. And unfortunately, the ceasefire that was in place while the Houthis in Saudi Arabia talked about ending all of this appears to be breaking down because fighting has broken out again in Hodeidah. So apparently only 2 hospitals are still working in Hodeidah. Apparently both of them are dangerously close to the front lines here. Meanwhile, more British troops are going to be deployed to Ukraine in the face of the threat from Russia. This is from the British Ministry of Defense. Russia's a threat. Russia's a threat. Look how close they have built their country to all of our military bases. So Britain is going to increase their military support for Ukraine as the country continues to face Russian aggression. No, I think what's really going on is Ukraine may be looking at a popular uprising because of the lack of heating gas. And the British troops are being sent on in there to prop up the junta, to keep Poroshenko in power, although he's probably going to lose the elections next year anyway. So additional troops and a Royal Navy ship will be deployed to Ukraine to defend freedom and democracy. Boy, talk about a load of codswallop there. Freedom and democracy, you go into a country, you stage a coup d'etat to overthrow the legitimate government, you put in a puppet dictator. Yeah, that's freedom and democracy, all right. Another article here, this one coming from Fort Russ, saying the same thing. Ukraine's opposition is planning the next Maidan. Over 20 cities remain without heating supplies, most relatively small, up to 100,000 inhabitants, but also 600,000 in Kryvyi Rog and in the capital in Kiev. Whole neighborhoods left without heat. Protests and rioting taking place. Now, as you know, the leadership of Interpol rotates, and a police official from each member country will take that leadership position one after the other. And now it's Russia's turn. And the United States is very upset. Oh, we can't have Russia in charge of Interpol. They might actually look where we don't want them to look. And the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has now come on in saying that the U.S. would rather have the acting head, Kim, for Interpol chief. Keep the Russians out. Keep this guy in here right now. And we have these 4 U.S. senators and the corporate media are enraged at the idea that Alexander Prokopchuk, who's a general in the Russian Interior Ministry, who's currently a vice president of Interpol, is the front runner to become its next president. And they've urged nations to vote against him. Russia, meanwhile, of course, is accusing the West of meddling in Interpol. And yes, that's exactly what they're doing. They're meddling again. Now, a little while ago, we mentioned how Poland was courting the United States for a permanent military base. They were even going to pony up $2 billion for it, which sounds like a lot of money, until you realize that Poland expects to make money off the deal from all the money that the United States will be pouring into Poland, first of all to build and then operate and supply and sustain the base in the coming years. Russian officials are now warning Poland that this is an obvious provocation and that they should not proceed with this permanent military base. Moscow is saying they will have to respond if Warsaw continues with this plan. And they've already named it. They're going to call it Fort Trump. So Poland's Defense Minister Mariusz Błaszczak confirmed that a permanent U.S. military installation will be undoubtedly created on the country's territory. And while bolstering U.S. military presence is not a matter for negotiation, the exact mechanism and select units to be deployed are still under discussion. Now, this next story is obviously an area of concern. It's coming out of Russia Insider. Apparently, a bipartisan commission appointed by the United States Congress issued a lengthy report yesterday backing the Pentagon's plans to prepare for a great power war against Russia, China, or both, making clear that the Trump administration's belligerent policies are shared by the Democratic Party. And apparently the authors of this report were convinced that their findings will never be reported by the corporate media. And the report is saying it will be devastating. They're predicting war with Russia and China breaking out within the next 4 years. They're saying the military will face greater losses than at any time in decades. And they're saying, yes, it could lead to rapid nuclear escalation and American civilians will be killed. Sounds like a really good reason to call the whole thing off, if you ask me. Now, obviously, Claire and I living here on the island of Oahu, if a war with Russia and China breaks out, we'll get hit. There's a lot of military communications goes through this rock. The Pacific Command is headquartered here. We got a ringside seat to the fireworks, as it were. And that's a depressing thought. Turning over to Saudi Arabia, article coming on out of Zero Hedge. Can Mohammed bin Salman hold power while juggling Trump, Putin, and oil all at once? And this is coming out of Bloomberg. And again, it's part of the mixed signals that we're getting out here, where Trump is out there saying, oh, Mohammed bin Salman had, didn't have anything to do with Khashoggi. We've got to do business with them. And, it was, in fact, he's out there now saying Iran was behind it all, which is ridiculous. But, he wants to go on selling products, mostly weapons, to Saudi Arabia. And he's saying that, if we do anything to punish Saudi Arabia for the death of Khashoggi, that Saudi Arabia will just buy what they need from Russia and China. And it is stunning hypocrisy when you consider how everybody reacted to the poisoning of Sergei Skripal and Yulia, which, by the way, I still think was more than likely food poisoning, and they just grabbed it to run with the propaganda. So this Bloomberg story is out there saying, well, you know, Mohammed bin Salman may not be able to stay there on his own. Yesterday we were reporting that apparently a lot of the princes in the family want him to go. King Salman's younger brother, who would have been next in line for the throne, wants him out. So I think there's going to be a palace coup. And I think the message that's going on out from the United States to Saudi Arabia is, you know, you do what you want with Mohammed bin Salman. We're not going to get involved. We just want to keep our business relationship solid here. Over in France, prosecutors are now probing possibly illegal campaign donations to Macron's party, the LREM party. And apparently there was a $164,000 donation contributed to the party in 2017 that cannot be tracked back to an original source. And so prosecutors are now taking a look at that. We're coming up here on another commercial break, and we'll be back after these words from our sponsors. So stay tuned.
Do you worry a lot? If you're forgetful, nervous, moody, or overwhelmed, chances are you're not protecting yourself from the ravaging effects of stress and anxiety. No matter the cause, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, your quality of life, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in as little as 1 to 2 weeks and increase your ability to recall facts, names, and numbers in 4 to 12 weeks. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. Try Calm and Clever for 2 months. You'll feel the difference. Call 1-800-758-8746 or go to calmandclever.com.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Most basic diseases are caused by yeast in the gut and metals in the liver, and we all have a bit of both. The garlic in Extendivite has a yeast-killing effect in the gut while also helping the sulfur enzyme in the liver get rid of the metals. Extendivite just may improve your overall health. Products like Extendivite are the only way we are going to get our society healthy. And if you're waiting for the government and pharmaceutical care to solve your health problems, you're going to have a long, disappointing wait, I think. Extendivite is a complete formula for extended life in the new millennium. 80 can be the new 60. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And apparently, this is going over to Syria. And as you know, both Israel and the United States have been demanding that Iran leave Syria. You know, by golly. Apparently, Russian President Putin offered Israel a deal which would have seen the Iranian-backed forces leave Syria in return for relief from the recently reimposed sanctions on Iran. And apparently the deal was all very hush-hush, but Netanyahu basically revealed it during a closed hearing of the Knesset's Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee on Monday and exposed by Axios yesterday. Notice that Putin goes to Israel to negotiate the deal regarding the U.S. sanctions on Iran. Just keep in mind what that reveals here. And apparently the deal has not gone through because, once again, the sticking point was you give us what we want first, and then maybe we'll do something nice for you. So, nice try, Vlad. The other day we were talking about just how much money has vanished into the Pentagon, and we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars. The Pentagon just had its first ever audit, which it failed, and they're all standing there with these sheepish grins on their face saying, we didn't expect to pass it anyway. We know the money's just gone away. Remember September 10th, 2001? Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld standing up there and admitting the Pentagon had lost $3 trillion with a T of your dollars, and they were trying to figure out where it went. Should have been the economic military scandal of the year, but of course 24 hours later 9/11 had happened and the Pentagon and Rumsfeld were off the hook. And as a special added bonus, the plane that crashed into the Pentagon flew around the Pentagon and came in, hitting the offices of the auditors who were trying to find where that money had gone. Now, Ron Paul has an article out here saying that a big part of the problem is that these trillions just went to people connected to the U.S. military-industrial complex. And it's just being spent propping up the high lifestyles of those who are friends to the military-industrial complex. And Ron Paul made these comments in an article published on his website on Monday. And again, it's just a huge amount of money flowing through that. And I got to see that personally, both when I was tangentially associated with the military during my years with NASA, and then years later when I was working in Hollywood and we got contracted by one of the companies working on the Strategic Defense Initiative to provide computer animations to show to Congress to sell their particular vision for what we were calling the dashboard to Armageddon, which they didn't get, but it was huge amounts of money. Just for most Americans, it's impossible to conceive of that volume of spending. Okay, we're going to take a break for station identification. We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you a few from Amazon.com. By Mel. Great product. My husband and father-in-law use it regularly. Both my husband and father-in-law have had significant change in their blood pressure and overall health. By Amazon customer. It works for me. Returned to buy the tincture and the capsules as they were on sale during February. Unlike some other products, this one worked for blood pressure and occasional irregular heartbeat. Extendivite produced noticeable results after just 2 bottles, a 4-month supply. I take Extendivite 3 times a day, every day. I think the supplement has helped with my increased fitness regime and to lower my blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Expand your life with Extendivite.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Yesterday, we were talking about how Airbnb had yanked all of the listings for their rental properties in the illegally occupied areas of the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem. And now Booking.com is coming under pressure to do exactly the same thing. Israel, of course, is denouncing Airbnb's decision and is threatening legal action against the company. In fact, Israel has gone to the U.S. government to complain about Airbnb's refusing to list rentals for properties built on stolen land. So you can say, you can see how bizarre this is all getting. Israel's going to the U.S. government saying, you make them help us rent the stolen property. That's what's going on out there here. Meanwhile, in Asia, over at the Asian Summit, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence is beating the war drums again. Apparently, he tried to do a stare down with some of the other diplomats there. But Pence has effectively ruled out any deals being made between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. And basically said, the U.S. will not change its course until China changes its ways. In other words, the tariff wars are going to continue. And let's be blunt. China is supposed to bow to the demands of American imperialism and accept a subservient semi-colonial status. Or it'll be war. Here's your rifle, Mike. Here's your parachute. Here's your day-glow orange jumpsuit left over from the CIA torture centers. Watch your head climbing into that transport plane. We'll tell Xi Jinping you're on your way to kick his butt. And when you fly over Oahu, we'll look up and wave at you. Over in North Korea, they have started blowing up some of the frontline guard posts along the DMZ as part of the agreement with South Korea to start to ease tensions. See, this is the way the Asians do business. Each side gives a little, each side gives a little more, each side gives a little more. It's not supposed to be one side gives everything and then the other side moves. That's why North and South Korea are making progress and North Korea and Washington, D.C. are not. Okay. All right, let's talk about the economic news here. It looked like we were going to have a good day on the stock markets, and we did for the S&P and the NASDAQ, but at the end of the day, there was a sell-off where the Dow Jones ended just microscopically in the red. But overall, it's just been a really rough weekend. And according to this article that came out of Goldcore, the stock markets still remain extremely overvalued, which is something we have been warning about for quite some time. And it's just not there. Now, everybody is still talking about the FANG stocks, the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google stocks. They've lost about $1 trillion since the top here. Mark Zuckerberg's net worth has dropped $34 billion since July. Bezos has lost $42 billion. I understand they're both setting up GoFundMe pages, save a billionaire or some such thing. And I'm sure they'll do all right. I'm sure they had something in a piggy bank somewhere here. Spotify stock reached a new low at $120.55 and had a little bit of a dead cat bounce and closed at 130. But apparently the investment grade credit slump may not be over yet, and that's going to cause liquidity problems for a lot of ongoing companies, not to mention startups here. Apparently, credit card delinquencies have blown through the financial crisis peak at 4,705 smaller U.S. banks. So the news is not necessarily good here. Okay. Let's talk about immigration and the refugee crisis here. As you know, the Mexicans are not happy about the migrant caravan. There have been quite a few confrontations, quite a few protests, and apparently a Mexican journalist who's there on the ground is starting to report on what's really going on there. There are children accompanied by women who are not their mothers, raising the possibility that these children are going to be trafficked. Many of the caravan migrants are armed with Glocks and AR-15s. And apparently there has been quite a bit of violence in Tijuana. Apparently was started by the people in the caravan. We're going to do a shout out now to our honor affiliates who are just now rejoining our network here. Story coming on out of 12160.info. Apparently the White House late yesterday authorized the U.S. military troops deployed at the Mexican border to use lethal force and conduct law enforcement operations. This is coming out of Military Times. And the memo signed by Chief of Staff John Kelly gives DoD personnel the freedom to conduct a show or use of force, including lethal force where necessary, crowd control, temporary detention, and cursory search in order to protect border agents from the migrant families crossing the border to get into the United States and help themselves to all the free stuff that you're going to be paying for. It was a smart move to do. And it's necessary. And again, if that Mexican journalist is correct, these migrants are armed with Glocks and AR-15s. And our military has to be able to respond here. So let's talk about yesterday's recall of romaine lettuce and do not use. This is nationwide, and they have not been able to identify any single company where this contaminated, E. coli contaminated romaine lettuce is coming from. It just seems to be everywhere. Well, there's another possibility. Free access borders to Central Americans and refugees bring in intestinal parasites, of which E. coli is one, along with hookworm, tapeworm, amoebic dysentery, plus untreatable tuberculosis, scabies, typhus, cholera, and various rodent host diseases. This romaine lettuce situation may be directly related to the open borders. And the reason they can't find a single point source for it is there is no single point source. It has come in all across the southern border. And by the way, I was just seeing another story on Fox News. Apparently, there's now a concern that some of the turkeys that are being prepared are contaminated with salmonella. And they're saying that, yes, when you bake the turkey, the salmonella will be killed. The concern is that if you touch the turkey and then you touch other food immediately thereafter, you can pass the salmonella on. So now they've issued a warning saying, after you touch one bit of food, wash your hands really good before you go to the next one. So, okay. Over in Great Britain, people are getting really fed up with Theresa May. They're basically viewing her as having been the author of a horrendous lie when she claimed she was ending European jurisdiction over Britain. Because when you look at this nearly 600-page draft agreement, it's exactly the opposite. It's going to keep Britain tied to EU laws and customs, environment, labor standards, social standards, and fiscal costs for years. And so people are saying, I don't get it. How do you keep Britain tied to EU laws without being subject to EU jurisdiction? And of course, the corporate media isn't asking that question because they're in on that globalist agenda as well here. Now, another little wrinkle has shown on up. As you know, in all the Brexit negotiations, Ireland is concerned. Scotland is concerned. They actually want to stay in the EU. And so they're talking about maybe they need to go back to this idea of not being part of the United Kingdom anymore. Meanwhile, Spain is out there saying it's time to talk about Gibraltar. Now, Gibraltar, as you know, is at the mouth of the Mediterranean. Got a big rock there. And technically, geographically, it is part of Spain, but it's under British control. And so Spain is now saying that if Britain leaves the EU, that's going to complicate their comings and goings with Gibraltar. And how are they going to solve that? And if there isn't a solution worked out, they're going to vote no on whatever Brexit deal is being offered. So whether one vote from Spain could kill the deal or not is still very much up in the air. Okay, over, this is really getting weird. A story out of InfoWars. Over in Arizona, in Boulder County, the Superior Elementary School, it's an elementary school, is going to show students as young as 5 years old videos from the Queer Kid Stuff YouTube channel ahead of a performance in late November from the Phoenix, Colorado's Trans Community Choir. And, of course, the Boulder County Chief Communications Officer, Randy Barber, saying, we really don't believe that you can be too young to learn about inclusivity and differences in the community. But the parents, of course, are up in arms, saying it's too early for elementary school children to be learning about transgender issues. And they feel the district is forcing an agenda on them. Yeah, it is. Whatever happened to reading, writing, and arithmetic in education? Because when I was in elementary school, that's what we were being taught, how to do things, how to read, how to write, how to memorize your multiplication tables, because we didn't have calculators back then. That's what we learned. We learned stuff that was necessary to find jobs in our local community. These days, kids go to school and it's transgender this and global warming that. It's all indoctrination. And the academic scores are showing it. The academic scores of our kids have been dropping for years. They cannot compete academically with children from other countries. We're a nation in decline. Our kids may be believing the things they're supposed to believe. Can they compete in a modern, technological, global marketplace? Unfortunately, the answer to that one is no. Now, yesterday we were talking about Celine Dion, who is now venturing into the world of gender-neutral fashion design for children. And this very bizarre commercial that she did. And now we're hearing that over in London, Sadiq Khan City Hall is replacing the female toilets and shower rooms with gender-neutral facilities. And people are already saying these changes are going to be rolled out across the entire city next and possibly put biological women at risk. Now, it can be made to work, and I know this because when I worked in Rome many, many years ago, the company I was working at had a non-gendered restroom. And it was basically, there was a room full of stalls with doors that you could do your private stuff, and then the washing and cleanup area was shared. And it actually did work very well. But not everybody was comfortable with it. But now they're going to be putting that out as the new normal over there in London here. Getting into the world of computers and computer equipment here, apparently Google's crackdown on developers is proving to be very ineffective. The problem of malware posing as innocent games in the Play Store is apparently a lot larger than was anticipated. And today, a security researcher at ESET, Lucas Stefanko, called out 13 Google Play Store apps which were originally malware disguising themselves under the name of the driving game for Android. The Android apps, which ranked on the Google Play Store with installs of more than 580,000, were removed by Google as soon as the story came on out. It is a huge problem. Malware, cybercrime, it's a huge, huge problem. And yes, Trump just signed a proclamation creating yet another agency that will ostensibly deal with the problem and will prove to be completely ineffective. Over in Manhattan, Nicholas Truglia allegedly stole $1 million from a Silicon Valley executive by hacking into his phone and stealing his cryptocurrency. Now, he wasn't very good at it. This guy actually got caught, and he's looking at 21 felony counts for going on a hacking spree that targeted 6 victims. And I hope they make an example out of him. And I wish corporate media would make a big stink about this. Yes, we got one. We're going to make an example out of him. But apparently he successfully hacked onto 6 victims' phones, all Silicon Valley executives, but he was only able to steal money from Robert Ross. Now, as I said the other day, if you want to be safe, you shouldn't have economic information, banking information, even a password file on your portable devices that you take out of the house. You have to be just keeping it private. Little statistic you may want to be thinking about. There's been a study on mass shootings and discovered that 97.8% of mass shootings since 1950 occurred in so-called gun-free zones. Clearly, this is an idea that does not work because, like gun laws, the law-abiding people will leave their guns at home, and only those of ill intent willing to break the law will have guns. I would say that we need to take down all those signs that say gun-free zone and replace them with a sign saying 1/3 of the people here are carrying concealed. You figure out which 1/3. Or something to that effect. You know, violent people will be shot, survivors will be shot again. And take a hardline approach to this. I mean, the reality is the gun grabbers love gun violence. They want it, they need it to push their agenda, because their agenda is a totally disarmed and helpless population, so that you'll do what you're told to do. And there are indications that a lot of these so-called mass shootings have in fact been staged events precisely to push that gun grabber agenda. So, and unfortunately, with the Democrats now in charge of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi is already out there saying, yeah, we're coming for the guns. We're coming for the guns. Guns are bad. Well, your guns are bad. Our guns are good. The guns that we send to these other countries are good, but your guns are bad. We're going to take a break for commercials, and we will be right back.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And going to step back to the political news for a little bit here. All during the run-up to the midterms, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like most Democrats, campaigned on promises of loads of free stuff, free tuition, free health care, free this, free that, and was challenged by some journalists saying, how are you going to pay for it? And she just kept saying, we're just going to pay for it. That was her answer. We'll just pay for it. You know, that's all we need to know. We'll just pay for it. Apparently, Democratic Congresswoman-elect Jennifer Wexton didn't understand that there was a reason Alexandria wasn't moving forward with any more detail about how they're going to pay for the free stuff, because it isn't free. And Jennifer Wexton basically came on TV admitting, oh yeah, they're going to raise the taxes. You know, we're going to have that single-payer healthcare system, but it's going to require a massive tax increase. What was it Reagan once said, that a government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take away everything you have. And he was absolutely right about that. Apparently, Amazon has been hit with a major data breach just before Black Friday. And again, I have no intention of going near a shopping mall on Friday. I don't want to see my brains bashed out by somebody who's desperate to get a discounted CD player. Actually, I'm giving my age away there. Does anybody play CDs anymore? It's all MP3s and streaming stuff now. Okay, the head of the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, has stepped down after racking up nearly $500,000 in air travel and hotel costs. An audit has called his globetrotting extravaganza, quote, a reputation risk, end quote. So Erik Solheim, who's Norway's former environmental minister and the head of UNEP since 2016, found himself in the middle of this controversy in September when it was revealed that he was away from UNEP's headquarters in Nairobi some 80% of the time. Nice work if you can get it. A preliminary report on him prepared by the UN Office of Internal Oversight Services was leaked to The Guardian, detailing the official's exorbitant traveling spend, which accounted for 529 days out of 668 that had been audited. This guy was having fun. Get to travel all over the world. I'm with the United Nations here. Over on Facebook, they've shut down the 40,000-member private CalGuns group. And apparently one of the issues that Facebook had was the cover photo for the group, which was an image of the Constitution. Apparently, Facebook finds the Constitution to be objectionable, or that some other people might find it to be objectionable. I'm sorry, that's the Constitution. That is the bedrock of our entire country. That is the original contract with America, under which we, the people, allow the central government to be the caretaker of our national sovereignty. That's what the federal government's job is. They're caretakers. Just think of them as, walking along with a little mop and a bucket, emptying the trash. That's their job. They work for us, not the other way around. Okay, another little story that's coming on out. This is at 12160. Yet another study has identified super high levels of aluminum in the brains of autistic patients. Where else do you find aluminum? It's used in many vaccines as an adjuvant. You have to look at some of these adjuvants in the vaccines and wonder, is it just incompetence or not caring? Or is the medical industrial complex intentionally trying to keep people sick in order to make more money off of them. We certainly know that there's been a pattern of trying to get people hooked on these opioids to get them to be permanent, repeat, addicted customers. It's all about the money. And it all goes back to Richard Nixon when he signed the Health Maintenance Organization bill. Prior to that, healthcare was about healthcare. Doctors and hospitals were not allowed to make huge amounts of profits. Nixon basically took that all away, turned it into yet another racket. That's why we have the most expensive healthcare in the world, and it's like 33rd in quality. All right, we got to take another break here for commercials. We'll be right back after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. As most of you know, my regular listeners, I offer energy cleaners for sale at my website. If you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, go to my website, thelibertyman.com, educate yourself about these marvelous healing devices. We focus on pain mitigation and getting a great night's sleep. Arthritis pain, joint pain, back pain, doesn't matter. Keep in mind, I offer from me to you personally a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do. Energy cleaners, $285, shipping included to American zip codes. You can educate yourself all about the energy cleaner right there at my website, the patent application, the wonderful testimonials. Be sure and check out the factory-made fitted mattress pads to go with the energy cleaner. Now, I offer from me to you personally a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do. I have a toll-free order line, or you can order it right at my website at thelibertyman.com. That toll-free order line is 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Thank you.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And apparently there is another recall that's out there. And this involves 100,000 pounds of ground beef, possibly tainted. with E. coli, and this is the second large meat recall in as many months by JBS USA, which is a unit of the world's largest meat processor, Swift Beef Company. And they're basically recalling this beef, and it was made available to retail distributors and food service providers in 5 states, including California, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. And it's rather alarming that the food safety in this country appears to be in decline. And I understand these companies are having to sort of pull back and cut corners, but that's where the FDA and the USDA are supposed to be stepping on in and making sure that they toe the line. Now, I'm glad they caught this in time. But it gets a little scary out there sometimes. We got a notification the other day about some product we bought over at Sam's Club being sued, class action, for a false advertising, making claims about the product that weren't true. It's another sign of the decline of the United States here. Okay, next Monday, well, actually, looks like it probably already happened. Oh, yeah, they're saying it was pushed back. Anyway, SpaceX is running a mission dubbed SSO-A. This is called a SmallSat Express, and basically it's going to use a single SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket to launch more than 60, that's 60, small satellites into space. A lot of people are very concerned because of the satellite's small size, difficult to track, difficult to know where they're going. And again, there is a growing concern about the amount of debris that is up there. And I know when I was a kid and they were just starting all of this stuff, the idea was space was vast, it was open, there was just all this room up there. Which, yeah, when all it was Sputnik and Explorer 1, there was a lot of room, but it's getting crowded up there. And there have been known collisions between satellites. Even the space shuttle got a big ding in one of its windscreens from just a tiny fleck of debris. All right, we're going to take a phone call from Art off the grid. Aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, you know, you mentioned the occasional cortex, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. What a wonderful, wonderful play on words there. And she is an occasional cortex of all of her own. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I thought was funny. I don't know if you caught this, but she seems to think that the 3 branches of government are actually the 3 chambers of Congress, and these 3 chambers of government are the presidency, the Senate, and the House.
Yes.
Now, this is what New York elected as their representative.
Yep.
Seriously? Seriously.
Seriously.
I mean, this is what passes for basic civics. I mean, we learned this. You and I read about it the same age, Mike.
Yeah.
I think I might be a little bit. Well, no, I think we're right about the same age. And you know, this is basic. What, 6th, 7th grade civics?
Yeah.
Back in our day, it was called social studies.
Yeah, yeah, and that they taught us how the government worked, and that we had to hate the communists.
Yeah, yeah, right. We see how that worked out. But I just think it's amazing. Here is a supposed college graduate that seems to think the 3 branches of government are actually 3 chambers of Congress, and I mean, seriously, folks. And you wonder why this country is as screwed up as it is.
It's been a big problem, and it didn't start with Alexandria. I mean, we've pointed out over the years about how we have members of Congress who really don't know the law. They don't know the Constitution. They don't know how things work. It's very frightening to have members of Congress passing legislation on issues about computers and the internet who themselves don't know how to use computers or what the internet actually does. And that's just a guaranteed formula to get bad laws, or at least, to have lobbyists come on in and say, we'll tell you what this all means, just vote the way we want you to vote.
Right. Well, when you can have a junior lecturer masquerading as a constitutional professor, none of this should surprise any of us. Thanks, Mike, and we'll talk at you later.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. The phone lines are open. Now, they're still talking about those California wildfires, which are unfortunately, sadly, still going on. And they're thinking it's going to be another week or so before they have the Camp Fire fully under control here. But as you know, there's been a little bit of a finger pointing back and forth between Governor Jerry Brown and Donald Trump over what's going on, with Donald Trump saying the forests have been mismanaged in California. And in this case, Donald Trump is right. Governor Moonbeam, environmentalist, liberal, wanted to preserve and protect the forests rather than properly maintain and manage them, and they did get out of control. And they've been going back and forth about this for some time. Apparently, loggers in California, professionals who are with that forest, they live there, they work there, basically came on out and said, yeah, Trump is right. Trump is absolutely right. There is no reason for these massive, deadly, and costly fires in California, except that forest management is so poor. And the loggers have come on out and said that yeah, you got to take care of the floor of the forest. You've got to keep the debris under control. Got to keep the fire breaks open. Now, the corporate media, of course, is attacking Donald Trump over this, because that's what the corporate media likes to do. But he's right on this one. And it's not like we haven't seen this happen before, because we have. Not just in California. It seems to go through a cycle. Alrighty. All right. Now, this is an interesting story. There was this guy, John Allen Chow, 27-year-old from Alabama. He's a Christian. And he wanted to visit this tiny island near India, near the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It's called North Sentinel Island. And it's actually illegal to go there. Contact with the endangered Andaman tribes living in isolation from the world is illegal because of the risks to them from outside disease. And there's only about 150 of them. So Chow basically went on the island because he wanted to preach Christianity to them. They promptly shot him with arrows and left his body on the beach. So that didn't work out very well. Now they're trying to figure out how they're going to get the body back without getting shot at themselves here. And here's yet another story about vaccines. This is a guy in Las Vegas, and guy was named Shane Morgan. And he was given a flu shot on the 2nd of this month, and immediately afterwards began showing symptoms of the flu. His wife, Monique, was saying 36 hours after he got the shot, he started showing flu-like symptoms, and then it turned into paralysis. He wound up having to go to the ICU at the hospital. Now, the doctors treating Shane are saying it could be a Guillain-Barré syndrome that's often linked with the flu shot. And it's very angering there to go down to the local pharmacy And on the front door, they say, we'll give you a discount on your flu shot. Come on back and we'll stick you with a needle. And I said, no, thank you. Don't want to do that at all. Do not want to do that at all. Okay, apparently George Soros sold a huge amount of his stocks right before the October crash began. Gee, I wonder how he knew to do that. More and more people are starting to look at this Central American caravan and realizing somebody put a lot of money into it to get those migrants to come on up here and hover at the fence, as it were. Okay. Apparently, the district attorney in the Avenatti domestic violence case is saying it's not a felony. And as much as I dislike Avenatti, I tend to agree, because I saw the photos of his actress girlfriend. She's got a couple of thumbprints on her, but and it's not nice to beat up your girlfriend or your wife. But I think she was seeing it as more of an opportunity to get her name in the media, to advance her career, than having really had any kind of an issue here. Okay. Apparently, more millennials are moving back home, and apparently it's making everyone depressed. 20-somethings and their parents experience a blow to their mental health when they boomerang back. Well, I can sort of understand why that might be the case. I mean, when you're going through that situation of moving out, for the student, the graduate, it's all of a sudden that feeling of, hey, I'm on my own. I now have a lot more personal freedom. And for the parents, of course, it's like, we've got our lives and our privacy back, and we can get on with things. And then all of a sudden, because of the economy and the student loans and the rest of it, you have to reverse that. And the student has to give up that newfound freedom to go back home, because his parents are going to go back to being his parents. They're going to have the same rules and everything going on. So I can see where, yeah, that would be a depressing situation for everybody. And let's see. Taking a look here. Apparently, there is a whistleblower in the Danske Bank laundromat case saying a complex web of big banks were involved, and Deutsche Bank moved $150 billion through their U.S. unit. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And Jesse James was right. The real outlaws are the bankers here. Okay, let's take a look. Coming up on the top of the hour, and the lovely Lady Claire. And let's see. Stores that will be open tomorrow. Bass Pro Shops, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bath and Body Works, they don't have an opening time. Beals, Florida, Belk, Best Buy, Big Lots, Cabela's, CVS, regular business hours. Dick's Sporting Goods, Dunham, okay, hang on a second. Dick's Sporting Goods, Dunham Sports, Dollar General, Fred's, GameStop, JCPenney, Kohl's, Kmart, Macy's, Major, Michaels, New York & Company, Old Navy, Rite Aid, Sears, Shopko, Stage Stores, Target, Ulta, Victoria's Secret, Walgreens, and Walmart. It's just a big... It's just another marketing. Come on. We're going to have Black Friday followed by Cyber Monday. And it's all about getting the money out of your pocket. And by the way, I know I mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. There are no real Black Friday discounts. What they've been doing all during the month is just starting to raise the prices on everything in the store. Bit by bit, so you're not really noticing it. But if you've been in the store over the last week, you're looking at the price. Oh, yeah, they're kind of high. Then what they're going to do on Friday is knock the prices back down to what they were before. And everybody's going to get all excited. They're going to whip out their plastic, and they're going to scream and yell at each other. And again, some of these videos I've seen from Black Friday at places like Walmart, it's not a pretty picture of the American people. And why this dramatic overconsumption and need to buy things. It's almost become a social disease. And yes, I could see where it's even an addiction, because it is a thrill to whip out the cash or the plastic, and all of a sudden you've got something in your hand to take home. And I think people can actually get hooked on that feeling. Shopaholics, there's actually a name for it. So, and we have all these retailers and advertising agencies who actually hire professional psychologists to figure out new ways to motivate you to spend. So we'll see what happens. And I understand the retailers are desperate. If they have another terrible holiday shopping season, some of them are going to disappear. Now, during the holiday shopping season, they're going to say, it's going great. Everybody's buying. The stores are running out of the products you wanted to get. You waited too long. And they do that every year. They did it last year. All during the holiday shopping season. Oh, it's great. It's a wonderful shopping season. Get on out there and, get with the program here. And then come January and the real numbers come on out and they're not good. So, like I said, Claire and I have no intent. We're not going out tomorrow. We're not going on out Friday. We're going to do a little extra shopping this afternoon after the radio show. We're going to stay home and away from the Papuli drivers, which is the Hawaiian word for crazy. We're going to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination of garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite is designed to strengthen the heart and arteries and help the body heal itself. Doctors are not able to explain the improvements they are seeing in their patients' health who are taking Extendivite. People who once needed more pills are now taking less and getting better. Due to the unexplainable improvements in their patients' health, more doctors are calling to order Extendivite for themselves. Help Extendivite make your doctor a believer. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I'm getting older, and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about Angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking Angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com, or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Coming up on the top of the hour, and the lovely Lady Claire. And one of the members just posted a story over at whatreallyhappened.com about Black Friday, titled "There Will Be Blood." And it starts out, "Have a happy pre-manufactured for-profit holiday tomorrow, and I would advise to stay out of stores on Friday. There will be blood." And because bloody fights are worth a Merry Christmas. It's a funny article here. Anyway, getting on back to Thanksgiving. And of course, over the centuries, the story has been distorted. For one thing, it was originally held, in the middle of summer here. And let me see if I can find that old article about it. Apparently, the current date that we have was set by Abraham Lincoln. And the very first Thanksgiving was held on June 20th, 1676. And was basically declared by the colony. And if you read this, there's nothing in it about the Indians coming to help the colony. In fact, it basically talks about the present war with the heathen natives of this land. It does talk a lot about God, but they had the solemn Thanksgiving. So again, over the years, history gets distorted. In fact, I think probably at this point, having done what I've been doing for the last almost quarter of a century, I would say I've come to the understanding that most of what I think is history or have been taught as history is garbage, it's junk, it's lies to serve somebody's agenda, to make somebody rich, to help somebody get our money out of our pockets, to sell us a policy, a president, a war, and that there's no profit in the truth, and that's why there's so little of it. Mark Twain used to say that truth is the most valuable thing we have, therefore let us economize it, which does seem to be the position that our government takes pretty much all the time, along with the corporate media. Anyway, I'm looking at the corporate newsfeed, and I guess that everybody's already getting into vacation mode. I can feel it. Claire can feel it. They're doing a story about, what's the best time of day to eat your Thanksgiving meal? And now they're talking, of course, about the travel headaches. And apparently this year is setting a record for travel, because even more than Christmas, this is when people get together, which is what we're going to be doing using FaceTime and Skype. And apparently they're showing an aerial shot of the 405 freeway in Los Angeles, and apparently it is gridlocked with all the holiday traffic. So if you are in fact going somewhere for Thanksgiving tomorrow. Check your routes, check your maps, leave early, be safe, please. We're going to take a break for station identification, and we'll be back with the lovely Lady Claire after these few words.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 3. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And for those of you watching on YouTube, this gorgeous creature just scurrying into her chair is the lovely Lady Claire. Okay, well, let me get your volume turned up here. And before we start talking with the lovely Lady Claire, Fox News was just now, I mean, they're definitely in vacation mode over there. They were just now showing actual video demonstrations of what happens if you try and deep fry a frozen turkey. And it is spectacular.
It's
and
bad news.
You will
Please
wind up
don't.
redecorating your kitchen, if not rebuilding your entire house.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. You'd think people would understand this is a dumb thing to do, but apparently every year like 500 homes get burned to the ground with all of this stuff.
Unbelievable. Just
Anyway,
unbelievable.
so what is the first thing you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to talk about what's hitting a lot of our farmers right now.
Okay.
And this is due to the trade war with China.
Yes.
Apparently, their crops, and specifically soybean crops, are rotting in fields as Trump's trade war bites U.S. farmers.
Yes.
And they are trying to find storage for crops that usually would be sold overseas, but they're having a really hard time. And normally,
I got to put a battery in here.
I know. And normally, China buys a lot and imports a lot of soybeans, but these crops are being forced to leave produce rotting in fields as a last resort. And farmers in various U.S. states being forced to plow their crops under, effectively burying them under soil and fields, as there is not enough room in storage facilities for what the Chinese can't buy. And apparently, Mike, all grain depots and silos are almost completely full. And now this means that farmers have to find their own storage solutions or allow their crops to rot.
Yep.
And neither option is really great.
Well, you know, obviously trying to find storage solutions.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And China is the largest importer of soybeans in the world. But since the trade war started and it slapped the U.S. Soybean crops with 25% tariffs, now China has turned to Brazil to meet domestic demand.
Yes.
I would like to hope that President Trump is thinking a little bit about this. The very people his actions are hurting, our farmers, many of them were the very people who helped get him elected to the presidency. And Mike, they're going to be furious when 2020 rolls around.
Yeah, I think they very much are. And it's almost like Trump isn't really serious about running again in 2020. And apparently over at the Asian Summit, Mike Pence's war of words with China is openly confrontational.
You saw the stare down, right?
Yeah.
Lord help us.
Yeah, so I think the concerns of the American farmers, along with everybody else impacted with this trade war, are apparently not a high concern.
Yep, definitely not. And from Zero Hedge, we're talking about the week. And Thanksgiving week was not supposed to be like this. And normally things are slow in the days leading up to Thanksgiving, as investors decide to do what the rest of us do, gorge themselves with turkey and stuffing as they gather with family and friends. But this year, the stock market is crashing, and Wall Street is in absolute panic mode. On Tuesday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at 24,465.64, which is unfortunately 2,500 points lower than the all-time high of 26,951.81 that was set in early October. What is happening, and you were mentioning this earlier, to the tech stocks is even more dramatic.
Yes.
Each one of the FANG stocks is now down by more than 20%, and they have combined to lose more than $1 trillion in value. That's not to be sneezed at, you know. And one analyst is describing what is going on as a rush for the exits. And I'm almost a little bit terrified because we get up early anyway to prep the show and do the website. I'm terrified of what this is going to look like. Mike, do you have some thoughts on it, please?
Well, the market is going to be closed tomorrow. It's going to be open again. My understanding is it'll be open again on Friday. And we'll just have to wait and see. But if the analysts are saying that people are heading for the doors, that's basically signaling that there is no confidence the market's going to rebound.
Yeah.
And again, everybody's pointing fingers. Is it caused by the Federal Reserve tightening the rates? And yes, that's definitely a big part of it.
Yeah.
The other part of it, of course, is the earnings reports from these major companies have not been good.
No, they've been very, very bad.
And the battering suffered by the tech stocks is shattering a lot of people's confidence in the economy and the market as a whole, because these were supposed to be, the big stock issues, the reliable ones, the ones that everybody wanted to own, that were never ever going to go down, and they have really gone down. All right, we're going to do a shout out now to our honor affiliates who are just now rejoining the network. So, the analysts are saying there's going to be a correction. There has to be a connection. The market is hideously overvalued, and frankly, not that we have stocks, you and I.
No.
Nope. If we did, I'd be thinking about, getting out of the stock market at this particular point.
Yeah.
Investing our money in canned foods and shotguns.
I know. Would like to bop on over to an issue of GM mosquitoes. And apparently, the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean took on a project to test their ability to curb whatever those mosquitoes were supposed to be capable of doing to prevent the spread of the Zika virus and dengue fever. Now, there is a UK-based genetic modification firm, Oxitec, creators of those GM mosquitoes, aka biobugs, apparently secured a mosquito release project for their GM male Aedes aegypti mosquitoes to impact the spread of dengue fever and Zika.
Just what we need, gay mosquitoes.
Oh,
that won't breed.
please. And apparently, there has been some comment by people at the Institute for Responsible Technology. Yes, we need responsible technology, under the leadership of Jeffrey Smith, opposed to and obviously provided counter-scientific information to the Cayman authorities. But something weird happened here, Mike. The project was stopped by the Mosquito Research and Control Unit just a few months after the project began. And apparently, according to MRCU, the project was stopped because it appears to have fallen short of its goal.
Meaning the mosquitoes are still breeding.
Yeah, you know. Oxitec is shutting down its operations and leaving the Caymans. The cost to the Cayman government, which probably doesn't get a lot of income anyway, was $588,000 for...
There's a lot of money in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I know.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. It remains unclear if the project was effective at all, and whether the reason to curtail the program related to cost or efficacy. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, the way that these programs are supposed to work, as I was alluding to before, the idea is these mosquitoes are supposed to be unable to breed, and that you put them into the natural population in order to reduce the birth rate. Things that could go wrong is finding out when released into the wild, these mosquitoes regain the ability to mate, or that the female mosquitoes are able to basically tell that these males are sterile and stay away from them. And it may be something as simple as the fact that throwing that many mosquitoes into the Cayman Islands dramatically increased the overall mosquito population, and people complained.
Or they got sick.
Or they got sick.
Yeah, one of the two.
All right, we're going to grab a phone call now from Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. Happy Turkey Days, and what's on your mind?
That's what I was going to say to you guys. Have a good Thanksgiving, both of you, or to the California people, some of them, Transgiving. You know,
Oh, dear.
God.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Yes.
Say you didn't say that. Say that was your evil cousin, Raul.
It sickens me. You know, you were talking about what, you know, we know that Brazil is like the largest soybean producer for the world, and they're going to be giving to China, and Russia's going to be doing soybeans now. But what about all those starving Yemenis? You know, we're all, Thanksgiving's tomorrow. These people are starving to death over there. They're starving. Our own government, the Saudis, Britain, they're all starving these people to death. And how come they don't send these soybeans over to Yemen?
Well, because somebody has to pay for it. Who's going to write the check? I mean, first of all, they got to pay the farmers for the soybeans. The farmers aren't going to just donate it for free. They grow soybeans to make money with.
And they're in desperate straits
they're
now.
in desperate straits. And then there's the idea of transporting all of these soybeans over there quickly enough so that they don't go bad in transit. It's going to cost money. And right now, our government is not in the business of spending money to feed people.
But Donald Trump says we got plenty of money. That's what I mean. They can print money out of thin air, but they can't print enough to help the starving people of Yemen.
You
know, you look at the photos. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
These people don't care about. Yeah, they don't care about. They don't care. They don't care about us.
Yeah.
At this point.
There is a real disconnect between Foggy Bottom or D.C. and the rest of us who have to work for a living and struggle, you know.
And I want to leave you guys with, because I don't like Trump anymore. I voted for him, but I think he's just garbage. Look at that report he just released with Saudi Arabia the other day.
Yes.
Oh, I raised the threat, and my God, are people still supporting this guy? Come on now.
I think
Saudi Arabia, Iran's the biggest threat. Come on now.
Right. I hear you, Dustin. I think a lot of people who were hoping that President Trump would actually represent the kind of change they wanted are disenchanted right now.
Yeah.
Completely disenchanted. And I will offer...
He just don't represent humanity. He cheated on his wife once but twice, you know? Like, the guy is just untrustworthy. Whatever he says, I don't trust
I hear you.
anymore.
I hear you. And I will tell you one thing. We have a state representative here by the name of Tulsi Gabbard. She is very bright. She is Samoan American, speaks well, and thinks brilliantly. She is also a vet who is anti-war.
Yeah.
And if this woman goes to campaign in the primaries, so help me, I will be there because I think she's an honorable woman.
She's talking about it.
I know.
She's
I know.
seriously talking about coming in on 2020.
Yeah.
And of course, we could put in all that work and get her in and discover that, like Trump, she's
Yeah.
another disappointment.
That would be really awful.
Well, like I told the audience earlier today, come
Mhm.
2020, I'm probably going to turn this website into a cooking show,
Okay.
and reduce our stress level, I think.
You're right, dear.
Hey, Mike, Mike, remember, Tulsi Gabbard went to steer it. She met with us. I mean, Assad and Putin are heroes.
Yes.
You know, do you realize that? They
of
defeated the terrorists that we backed. They protected Christians. So any of these people call in Christians or this or that, Putin and Assad are heroes. Your government has armed the people who want to kill you and cut your head off.
Yep.
I mean, my God, people. So but I want to leave you with that, Mike. And like I said, have a good holiday, both of you, and stay safe.
You
All right,
too.
same to
Thank
you. Same to you as well. Happy Thanksgiving. And we're going to let you go, and the phone lines are now open, and your
Okay.
next story is.
Well, I wanted to elaborate a little bit about that pressure that the U.S. was using to prevent the Russian candidate Alexander Prokopchuk from being elected as Interpol chief. And the Russian spokesman for President Putin, Dmitry Peskov, said that this is an aggressive lobbying campaign by the US and UK, and it succeeded in stopping a qualified Russian candidate from winning the presidency of Interpol. Now, some of the people who came on in, there's a gentleman by the name of Senator Wicker, and he talks about that the Russians have been overly aggressive, etc., etc., etc. They're repressive on their journalists. And I would like to ask Senator Wicker, who probably doesn't listen to this show, one little question. If he is so hot and bothered by dissidents in Russia, what are you guys about to do to Julian Assange? Come on. This is a pot kettle black moment here. And people can absolutely see through the hypocrisy of the U.S. stand,
Yeah, it is. It is a hypocrisy, and the situation with Julian Assange, it's going to be a very rough sell because it's presumed at this point, because we don't know the actual charge.
No, they're still
it's
secret.
presumed they're going to charge Julian Assange under Title 18 for espionage. That's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah.
Julian Assange was acting as a whistleblower, which used to be protected under law. Those laws have been rescinded. Meanwhile, you have Hillary Clinton, who committed numerous violations of Title 18, apparently for personal profit, and was let go by James Comey and Loretta Lynch. So a lot of people are going to be saying, why the double standard?
Exactly.
And it is an issue here. And what is very angering for me is it's another case of where Donald Trump seems to have forgotten about the people who helped him become the president.
Amen.
Because it was WikiLeaks leaking of those DNC emails that really hammered the Clinton campaign going into the general election.
Right.
Now, of course, the Hillary Clinton campaign was screaming Russia, Russia, Russia. But we know from the metadata on the files, it was an internal leak, most likely by Seth Rich.
Yeah.
And Julian Assange put it all out there in the spirit of reporting to the American people what the American people needed to make a good decision on Election Day. Trump obviously benefited from that.
Yes.
We here in the independent media, we made all of that stuff go viral because the corporate media kind of wanted to look the other way.
Right.
And we had to basically force the issue. Trump doesn't seem to remember that. Now he's out there saying that he really doesn't know all that much about Julian Assange.
Right.
And so he's either turned his back on the independent media, or he just never really understood the role that we played in his becoming the president of the United States of America.
And I've got something I would like to share with our audience. It's in a very sober-sided blog, antiwar.com. I have a great deal, and Mike has a great deal of respect. And today they posted an article by Heather Workush The case against WikiLeaks is a crisis for the First Amendment. And it starts out talking about the Trump administration, which once celebrated WikiLeaks. Now it wants to prosecute Julian Assange simply for publishing things it doesn't like. And Mike, that's a real threat to everyone trying to tell the truth.
Yes, it definitely
Yeah,
is. It
yeah.
definitely is.
And now, as you said, we don't know, but we understand that there are criminal charges which were accidentally revealed last week.
Or deliberately leaked.
Yeah, when Assange's name was found on a court filing of an unrelated case, suggesting that prosecutors had copied a boilerplate text and forgotten to change the defendant's name. And we have a U.S. attorney on Assange's team, Barry Pollack, and he said the news that criminal charges have apparently been filed against Mr. Assange is even more troubling than the haphazard manner in which that information has been revealed. And the government is bringing criminal charges against someone for publishing truthful information is a dangerous path for a democracy to take, you know.
Yes.
And Assange has been essentially holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London since 2012, seeking protections against certain assault allegations in Sweden, which I believe
Which
were later
had been dropped.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
turned out the women just made it up.
Yeah. While the initial arrest warrant has since been revoked, if Assange leaves the embassy, he runs the risk of being apprehended by UK authorities and extradited to the US for criminal persecution. Now,
Okay, we got to take a break.
okay, all right. I'd like
And-
to come back to this.
Yeah, we'll be right back with this story.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Attention RBN listeners. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, founder of Frontsight Firearms Training, and fate have come together to allow RBN to run another fundraiser till the end of the year. We didn't really expect this opportunity, but thankfully it's here and running as you hear this. We've set a goal of 500 donations by the end of the year, which averages around 6 per day, 7 days a week. When you realize all the folks listening to RBN all hours of the day and night, we think our goal is realistic and extremely critical to keep RBN on the air. If everybody listening will seriously assess their ability with firearms and then take advantage of this opportunity, we feel our goal is very conservative. Please take the time to look over Frontsight's website to get an idea of an amazing facility and the world-class training that's going on there. If this interests you, you likely will have like-minded friends that would like to know. Tell them. If for some reason some listeners are not personally interested, consider sons and daughters, close friends, nieces or nephews, top valued employees, inform club members, share the opportunity with police and fire departments. It's not too early to plan Christmas presents for special people. This fundraiser has come at an extremely critical time for RBN because the dire need for equipment upgrades. We're running on the spare tire currently with no money to fix a flat, and the fuel gauge is bouncing on E. This is one of the most valuable ways you can help RBN financially because you get Commander lifetime membership value that is 50 times your donation and can be passed on forever. How many times during life do you get to leave a legacy? See more details and contact info on our webpage, republicbroadcasting.org, and thank you.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, I mean the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. And we're talking about the situation with Julian Assange, where it looks like it's now only a matter of time before he will be brought back to the United States of America to face what we presume are going to be espionage charges under Title 18. And it's going to be a very tricky sell because people are going to be saying, well, Hillary Clinton violated Title 18. She didn't do it in the public interest. In all probability, she did it for personal profit. And she got off scot-free. Now, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks have been performing a public service.
Yes.
They have actually been doing the job the corporate media is supposed to do. The reason there is a First Amendment at all is so the media can report on government malfeasance without fear of reprisal. That's that's the responsibility that comes
their
with
job.
the First Amendment.
Yes.
That's supposed to be the corporate media's job. They don't do it. That's why the independent media is here, including WikiLeaks.
And one of the thoughts by the writer of this article is that the Justice Department is going to try Assange under the Espionage Act, which was originally used, intended for spies, World War I red baiting law. And it's very ironic to me that the Espionage Act enjoyed a renaissance under President Obama, who apparently used it more than all the previous administrations combined, usually to pursue government officials who had spoken to journalists.
Okay, now here is where the situation gets a little tricky. Okay, the person who is leaking the information is the one who is liable under Title 18. It is a real stretch to try and go after Julian Assange with that because he is not going to these people and saying, give me classified information. Okay, it's a very fine point, but it's something that independent media, journalists, publishers need to keep in mind. If you are leaked classified information, you can't be prosecuted. If you ask for it, then yes, it's a Title 18 felony violation. So they're going to have a hard time actually getting a real conviction on Assange. This may wind up going all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And apparently, this act enables leaked materials to be retroactively categorized. Let me back up again. Retroactively categorized as classified and with little justification.
That's ex post facto.
Yeah.
Okay. There shouldn't be a prosecution just... I mean, you put out the information and then the government says, oh, we're retroactively classifying it, we're going to arrest you. That right there is going to have a chilling effect on all of the media.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And apparently it's no secret that the U.S. government has targeted WikiLeaks and Assange for years. And there was, in 2008, a U.S. Army document saying that they should use legal actions, attacks on the livelihood and reputation of current or former insiders, leakers, or whistleblowers conducted by WikiLeaks in order to damage or destroy its trust as a center of gravity. Now, Mike, aren't you the guy who says truth becomes the first casualty of war?
Well, that was actually originally said by Senator Hiram Johnson, but yes, it's true, and I do repeat that on a regular basis.
And when telling the truth becomes criminalized, that particular culture, that particular country is at great risk of becoming very heavily fascistic, right?
Well, it's becoming a dictatorship, tyrannical, whatever you want to call it, and it is unfortunately also a telling indicator that we are heading into a major war.
Yeah.
And if you go back and you look at the history of the U.S., both during World War I and World War II, the media was very tightly controlled on both sides, actually. when the Nazis came to power in Germany, the first thing they did was just take absolute control of all media.
Absolutely. Yep.
Radio was just coming into its own back
Mhm.
then. The German government subsidized radios for the German people.
Mhm.
But the radios were built to only be able to tune into selected German radio transmitters.
Approved
Yeah, the approved
transmitters.
broadcasting
Right,
channels.
right.
You couldn't just go around the dial like you could with a regular shortwave radio.
Yeah.
So yeah, every country that's getting ready to go to war, they want to shut down
Mhm.
all alternative means of information for the public, which is why it's time, to get out your shortwave radio and start listening to other countries. Get out your little crystal sets and.
Or the other thing you can do is read the foreign press in English. I find this amazingly helpful to figure out what the heck my own government is planning to do.
Yep.
And in terms of trust, this government has no trust from me whatsoever. They're going to lie to further the agenda of the already moneyed, and we the people can just sort of kind of hang.
Yep.
Looking at all these wars, which apparently President Trump is very interested in starting.
They're saying we'll
It's
be at war with
scary.
Russia and or China within
Yeah.
4 years now.
Yeah. I mean, if ever a country needed a Department of Peace, it is right the heck now. And it's the U.S. government that needs it desperately.
Every time they get into an economic mess, they get
Mhm.
into a world war to get out of it. We got to
Yep.
take another break for commercials, and we will be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. There's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
Do you know there is an ongoing war right here in America? Are you aware that U.S. citizens have been classified as enemies of the state since 1933? Have you recognized that our entire government is really a vast network of interlocking corporations engaged in commerce? Look up Title 28, Section 3002. Tune in to In Defense of Humanity on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. Find out what's really going on and learn how to protect yourself and your family as flesh and blood men and women living in a corporate reality.
Many people write about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you a few from Amazon.com. My wife and I both use Extendivite and are very pleased with the results. It has helped to stabilize our blood pressure and to make both of us feel healthier. Good product and good buy. So far, so good. I've been taking Extendivite 3 times a day, only a short while now, but already I've noticed the circulation in my hands and feet improving. They tingle. I like the idea of taking something herbal rather than pills. I take Extendivite 3 times a day, every day. I think this supplement has helped with my increased fitness regime and to lower my blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant 'em anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The tower.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And before we get on back to the news with Claire here, TSA is now saying that if you're traveling today, tomorrow, you should get to the airport or train station or whatever 3 hours early. Apparently, it is that much of a zoo. So, latest update from California, unfortunately, 81 known dead, and something like 13,000 homes were destroyed. Thank you, Governor Brown.
Ouch.
So, what is, let's see. All right. What is your next story?
Well, it's interesting and a very normal evolution as we get more computer-centric and our militaries get more computer-centric. The Russian military is introducing obligatory courses to protect state secrets, and they're going to educate officers and soldiers on how to behave online in order to protect state-level secrets. The military also intends to tighten legislation which would punish leakers of sensitive data. And these obligatory courses are going to start next year, and this was reported by Izvestia, citing the ministry's press service. They're going to be getting insights into what they're allowed to post on the internet, how to use social media safely, what should and should not be told to strangers, and other guidance. And this is interesting because the majority of soldiers do not even have clearance for state secrets. And personnel lacking clearance will actually get longer lectures on the matter since the others have already taken the obligatory secrecy training. And I looked at that and I thought it would be really very nice if President Obama didn't have something like that in place before appointing Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State.
Hillary
my
Clinton
Lord.
went through the training for her security clearance. She simply chose to ignore it. Nobody gets a security clearance without you get a sit-down meeting saying, this is what this means. This is what you can do.
Right.
This is where the information goes, and so forth. So Hillary Clinton wanted to play dumb when this whole email server thing came on up, but she did know better. There's no way she would have had that security clearance without knowing exactly how that material was supposed to be taken care of.
And speaking of Bill and Hill, that geopolitical gruesome twosome, you mentioned this earlier. The foundation, the Clinton Foundation donations have plummeted 90%. And it's under investigation by DOJ, FBI, and IRS for a variety of allegations, including whether favors were handed out while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, also known as pay for play. And it's interesting to realize that the Clinton-led State Department authorized $151 billion in Pentagon-brokered deals to 16 countries that donated to the Clinton Foundation. And, wow.
Yep.
This is just, it boggles the mind. It boggles the mind.
I'm in a constant state of boggle.
Yes.
I really am.
And there was apparently a $1 million check the Emirate Qatar gave Bill Clinton for his birthday in 2012, which the charity confirmed it accepted. Now, I think it's on 5 December that there's going to be a hearing,
there's going to be a report. The person who's been looking into this is going to make his report to Congress, and we'll see what they're going to say about it. I mean, there's absolutely no question that the Clinton Foundation does not rate a 501c3.
Right.
They did not donate anywhere near enough money to charity
No.
to meet the requirements. And if that is revoked, when that is revoked, and it should be revoked,
Mhm.
then the Clintons become personally liable for the
Yes.
taxes on all of that money here.
Couldn't happen to a more
Yep.
deserving couple, right, dear?
Yep.
Okay. Apparently now Mexican authorities have revealed the actual scale of the migrant caravan poised to cross U.S. border if they don't get shot first. The Mexican...
It would be a big mistake.
Yeah, I know. The Mexican Interior Ministry said Tuesday that a number of migrants from the caravans staying in the area of the Mexican cities Tijuana and Mexicali, located at the U.S. border, amounted to about 5,600 people. Now, according to the ministry, there have been 20.8 tons of humanitarian assistance, including food, blankets, mattresses, hygiene items have already been provided, while water purification systems have been installed.
And who paid for all of this?
Yeah. You have to have your eyes out because we have George Soros fingerprints all over this,
Yes.
Michael. All
Yes.
over this, you know. And there's been back and forth with the judiciary, and the eventual size and cost may rise depending on how much the Pentagon needs to, defend the border.
Yes.
Yep. And we can't allow this to happen. It can't be allowed to happen because immigration must, according to U.S. law, be granted by permission. Going
Yes.
through the process.
Yep.
All of my wild and weird ancestors had to do it, so did his.
Yep.
Except those who were living on the land before the Europeans found it.
Yeah,
you know.
on my mother's
Yeah.
side of the family,
Yes.
they've been here since before it was a country.
Right, right.
They got, you'll pardon the expression, grandfathered in.
Yeah, but On Monday, U.S. immigration officials suspended all northbound traffic on the U.S.-Mexican border to install additional security barriers. And apparently, Colonel Rob Manning has said in a statement on Tuesday that the current cost of deploying American active duty troops to the U.S.-Mexico border in support for immigration enforcement is going to amount to at least $72 million.
Yep.
Mike, that sounds low. I think it's going to be double or treble that.
Well, he may
Mm-hmm.
be talking about just the cost of the physical deployment because these
Mhm.
troops are already on their regular Army pay.
Right.
So he may be just talking about, and the trucks are already in existence and so forth.
Mhm.
So it may just be about, the cost for food and fuel.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
I'd like to kind of go back a little bit. You were talking about Saudi Arabia and Khashoggi.
Yep.
And President Trump has proved to not be terribly presidential in this.
No, he isn't,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
And he's sort of been not very presidential all along.
Yeah.
He's a good salesman. There's no question about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Get up on that podium with a microphone, and he's doing a great job.
Mm-hmm. Right. And Trump's congratulations to Saudi Arabia on keeping the oil price reasonably stable was after they reportedly raised production for a second straight month in November. Now, the Saudis would like to have oil at $80 a barrel or above. But a few weeks ago, when Trump wanted to lower oil prices heading into the midterms, the Saudis needed the international political support after the murder of Khashoggi. And yesterday, Trump stands with Saudi Arabia despite the Khashoggi killing. And there is something following I'd like to talk about. With this following press release, President Trump has truly jumped the shark. There is a video which Trump released, an official statement on the Khashoggi murder that tries to point a finger at Iran for it. Come on, cui bono.
Iran made us do it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And the statement came amidst reports from CIA-linked sources that Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman had ordered the killing, and the official stance of the Turkish investigation that the order to kill the journalist came from the highest level of, the Saudi government. And what he put in his little place all the bullet points. The world is a very dangerous place. Iran is guilty of destabilizing the situation in the Middle East. Hezbollah is also guilty. The Houthis are very guilty as they are resisting the Saudi invasion of Yemen. Bashar al-Assad, bloody dictator who killed millions of his own citizens. Israel, a great country. Mr. President, I am having a Jean-Luc Picard double palm movement at warp speed reading this. You know, it's just amazing, and it's all of the it's all about the money.
Yeah,
and
it's all about the money.
oil.
It's all about the money. And that when the war with Iran really cranks up, the United States is going to need Saudi Arabia to basically come on in.
Yeah. And the foreign minister of Iran is saying that Trump calls Iran terrorists to slash nation with sanctions. And apparently today, Javad Zarif has hit out against President Trump for calling Iran a terrorist nation, saying the hackneyed accusations reveals Washington's hostilities toward Tehran is the real reason behind the illegal U.S. sanctions against the country.
Yep.
And in a post on his official Twitter account on Wednesday, Zarif also said that American hawkish officials' dreams of uprooting the Iranian nation would never come true.
Well,
you know, I mean,
think time will tell us about that one here.
Yeah. And he says in ending, a nation is its people. Zarif mentioned repeatedly calling Iran a terrorist nation reveals hostility toward an entire people and exposes the real reason for targeting them with illegal sanctions. Mike, how far back does the former nation of Iran, that was Mesopotamia, right?
Well, Iran has changed leadership several times. I mean, back in 1953, they had an elected government, Mohammad Mossadegh. The CIA now admits they went on in and overthrew him and installed the Shah of Iran so that Iran's oil would be available at a lower cost to British and American oil companies. And the Shah of Iran kept control over the people of Iran using his secret police, the Savak, who were trained by the U.S., until 1979, when the people of Iran said, we want our country back, and they kicked the Shah out. And the U.S. has been trying to go back into Iran and reimpose a puppet ruler ever since. They tried it in 2009. That fell flat on its face when the Shah of Iran opened his big mouth about sitting on the peacock throne. And they're probably going to try and do it again, rather than a full-on frontal invasion of Iran is going to be very costly and harmful for everybody. My guess is they're thinking about finding a way to go on in and overthrow the Iranian government because they succeed about 50% of the time every time they try one of these things.
And there was another thing on the front page of Press TV. And by the way, this is an Iranian outlet in English. And I encourage everyone to look at it just once. If you don't agree with it, fine. But I think they do some really intelligent reporting that we just don't get here. And one of the images that just kind of got me, there was an image of an Iranian mother in tears. Her kid has got cancer. And what she is saying to the Trump administration is, please do not commit genocide. Children are innocent. And apparently, the cancer drug the doctors think might be able to save this kid's life are not available. Now, this, to me, is another war crime. You know, he should have at least made exception, a life-saving humanitarian exception for medicines that may heal people.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree.
This is
and we actually had a
insane.
statement from Iran's Ministry of Health just yesterday saying that necessary medications are not getting into
Drying
the
up,
country.
yeah.
They're drying up. They're
Yeah.
running out. And that there should at least be a medical exemption to all of these sanctions.
You know, and I-
which I don't. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The goal of the sanctions is to punish the Iranian people
Mhm.
and get them ready to overthrow their own government.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at this gal's face. I was looking at the son's face, and I just almost wanted to reach through the computer and hug them. I don't speak Farsi. I don't know if they speak English, but I would have to say I'm really sorry that my government is acting in such a way that humanitarian aid is not able to get into Iran, and this really bothers me. You know, it's a little frustrating.
It makes us look bad to the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, I would also like to talk about President Trump and the thousands Saudi Arabia is murdering with impunity in Yemen with the U.S.'s help. You have kids getting point blank assassinated or maimed for life by Saudi bombing runs. Saudi Arabia, again with U.S. assistance, is blocking the ports so food can't get through, and Yemeni children are starving to death. Additionally, with U.S. military assistance, the water infrastructure has been blown apart, so cholera has killed thousands and will probably kill more. And on this issue of Yemen and Saudi Arabia, apparently the fighting is raging in Hodeidah after pro-Saudi forces scrapped the ceasefire.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, that the ceasefire was obviously off.
Yeah, and there were a flurry of attacks backed by Saudi warplanes. On Tuesday, both sides appeared to be back to full-scale hostilities, with fighting raging in and around the city. And I have to ask, if SecDef Mattis and Mike Pompeo thought for 1 second that they could control the Crown Prince bin Salman, they were whistling Dixie. Because remember all of the statements about, a peace conference coming up next month, yada, yada. They were absolutely wrong in their evaluation, Mike, completely and totally.
Well, like I said, my theory about the reason why Khashoggi's death was fanned up in the media is that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is proving to be a little too independent of spirit.
Yeah.
And the United States would like to see somebody else in there, as long as the Saudi royal family is going to do the dirty work themselves.
Yeah.
Which may happen.
Yes.
The princes apparently want Mohammed out. King Salman's younger brother has come back from his self-imposed exile. He's talking about wanting that center seat, and not letting Mohammed bin Salman become the next king when the current king passes away, which is kind of imminent.
Yeah.
So palace intrigue there in Saudi Arabia. But again, the world is in a real mess, and I feel bad for the people of Yemen. Why we can't just leave other people's countries alone. We have to take another break for commercial. We're going to be back with the last segment of our show today after these few words.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective, and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. Airoutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to Airoutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at Airoutfitting.com.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. You will hear this offer only on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Last segment of our program here the day before Thanksgiving. And I do want to remind all of our listeners that tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, and Friday, the show will be using repeat broadcasts, which will give our much overworked technical staff a little bit of a breather, be able to take some time off, be with their families. And we'll still be posting to the website itself, but the radio show will be dark for the next 2 days. And getting on back to the issue of safety as you travel for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
They were just showing this video. Apparently there's been a horrendous crash on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, dear.
So, you know, apparently it was enough where they could make a new story out of it. So in these last few minutes of the show here, I mean, we need to remember Thanksgiving is supposed to about being thankful, and obviously I'm thankful for you.
Well, I'm thankful for you.
I'm thankful the statute of limitations has run out on so many of my sins.
What statute of limitations? Michael, would you run that by me again?
Nothing.
No, I think we are
blessed. It was all BC before Claire.
Okay. I think we're blessed to have some great friends in the truth community, and we thank you all for contributions, articles, financial, whatever you've been able to do. It is a real blessing. I'm very grateful that at 69, I'm still able to think reasonably coherently. I'm still able to create music, occasionally get it done by my little church choir, and that I am still viable by my definition of viable.
Yes.
And I think it's important for all of us to have our own definition of what makes life work for us. You know, I know the people, I've seen people who've had massive amounts of plastic surgery, and that kind of defines them. Not the art, not the music,
and
not
it doesn't
what they
survive
can do.
into old age. I've
No,
seen so.
and yeah, everything is gonna sag in about 5 years.
Yeah,
we
or
have
harden up.
we have seen that happen.
Yes.
But I just want to issue a great blessing and a great thanks, which is in Hawaiian mahalo, to all of you who support us and who support Republic. Please hang in there, share our information with your friends so that they're looking and they're on the same page.
Yeah, but not tomorrow. Never
No,
talk
no,
politics
no,
over the
no.
Thanksgiving meal.
That can be fatal.
That's
Let's
a bad
not go
idea.
there. Let's
bad
not go
idea
there.
here.
But
well, one thing I'm thankful for is that you're not having to wear that brace as much as you used to. And I know you don't see it, and it's very frustrating.
I know.
But I can see that, you know, you are finally recovering from that horrific injury last January.
I know.
And it's been a bit of a tough year. I mean, between your back, the stolen car, and you know, dead computers and everything.
Yeah, but one thing we have not lost is our sense of humor. that is really the worst thing in the world you can do is lose your sense of humor
absolutely.
and have perspective about what's going on.
Yes.
And what defines you? What are the things you do that define you? Think about that. Think about where you might want to add or include some things, maybe some volunteering, because there are a lot of good causes out there that need volunteers.
There are a lot of good causes, and it's really much more effective if you get directly involved rather than sit back and write a check to some organized corporate charity that doesn't get as much to where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's the music. Time for Claire and I to get on out of here. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Stay tuned for John Stadmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you as well. And again, please be very safe on the roads or at the airport tomorrow, and we'll see you next Monday. Aloha, America.